Fanstream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to Fanstream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
Oh, wow. I'll just be honest with you guys. It's a tough one this morning. My Honey Nut Cheerios didn't taste so good this morning. I think Tally pissed in my Cheerios this morning. I don't know what it was, but it was not good. Good morning and welcome to another edition of the JP Peterson Show on this depressing Tuesday after the Lightning blow a 4-1 lead in the third period in a game they absolutely had to win against the Leafs last night to fall down 3-1 in the series. And just shocking, gut-wrenching, pissed off. Not fun. And then, no, it wasn't Baker Mayfield's fault because, first of all, Tom Brady never showed up in a Lightning jersey, so let's give Baker a little bit of credit for that. And he was with his offensive line and all the big boys, right? So it was good. What an atmosphere last night in Amalie Arena. It was incredible. Warwick Dunn was in the house getting the Community Service Award. Rondé Barber was in the house. Tristan Wirfs, Vita Vea, Baker Mayfield. Everybody was in the house. It was fantastic last night. And for the first two periods, the Lightning were just destroying Toronto. And then came the third period when they just came out gliding. They're out for a little glide on the third period. Let's just wrap this thing up and get to Toronto. Whoops. Forgot to finish that one. That was as gut-wrenching a loss as I think I've ever said. And I said on the post-game show, I cannot remember two back-to-back losses this gut-wrenching. In the regular season, obviously in the playoffs, things are ramped up. But especially in the playoffs. Cannot remember it. Maybe the two against the Capitals in, 18 was it, where the Bolts had a 3-2 lead. But those games, they were just manhandled and outplayed, and you never thought they were going to win either one of them. Last night, it was exactly what I thought it would be. I said the Lightning were going to come out and absolutely just road stomp these guys after the disappointment of Saturday night and the grand larceny that went on in that game. They would be pissed off. It would light a fire under them, and that's exactly what they did for two periods. They were dominant. I mean, even though Toronto outshot them in the second period, it never felt like they were in control of the game at all. The Lightning were in control of the game. They were playing in Toronto's end constantly. And that's the way they needed to finish the game. And unfortunately, they didn't. And so 2 straight games, and historically, I don't think this has ever happened, but they have been in the 98th percentile of win percentage in both games. 98th percentile at some point in the third period to win these games, and they blew them both. So from a number standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, from an eye test standpoint, from a inside the gut standpoint, these are the 2 biggest gut punches back-to-back I can ever remember the Lightning taking. And if they get off the mat and come back and knock out Toronto in this one, it will be the greatest get off the mat, come back and win a fight I think I've ever seen in hockey. Do I expect it to happen? As much as I would like to put my Lightning blue blinders on and say yes, I got to say no. I just don't. Not this team, not this year. Vasi just doesn't look like the same guy. I mean, an .856 save percentage. Andrei Vasilevskiy in a series, .856. No. And without Chernak, part of your shutdown pair? No. Without, I hate to say it, Ryan McDonough, maybe blocks a few more shots and those shots from the point don't get through. I don't know. Because the tips are hard to stop. I don't want to bang on Vasilevskiy for that, but he's had enough opportunities that he should be better. It's bad. And that's the worst part about it. I think when Victor Hedman has been on the ice, the Lightning have been the superior team. But you got to hand it to Toronto. They have been resilient. They don't quit. And when given the opportunity with their firepower, they're going to beat you. If you continue to let them come at you and you don't stay in their end. And I think I can't remember who it was on the postgame show who said it. It might have been Killorn, might have been Hagel. But they said for the first two periods, we were in their zone. We kept their offensive stars, Marner, Matthews, Jordan, all those guys. We kept those guys working hard in their end so they can't work hard in our end. And in the third period, we didn't do that. They didn't do that. I'm going to say they sat back because the shots were 11-10, but there was no intensity to their forecheck and to keeping it into their zone for long stretches of time, which is their best defense. Without Chernak and with Vasi not playing well, you can't do that shutdown strategy that you've employed in the past and done so well. So I think, even my partner, Brian Engblom, said it last night. They practice this. They know how to do it. It's not fair to say that this doesn't work. And I agree with that conceptually. I'm saying it doesn't work when Vasi is not Vasi. Of course, no strategy is going to work if your goaltender's 856. But that's not all his fault, obviously. And you don't have Chernak. And, I don't want to keep going back, but you don't have McDonough, you don't have Plot. Those are guys that were instrumental in executing that shutdown to perfection in the past 3 years. This is a different team, and they can't do it. They've proven that they can't hold on to a 1-goal lead in the third period, and they can't hold on to a 3-goal lead in the third period. So at some point, I think you got to say, guys, it's zip. Go down there and keep it in their end, because when it comes back here, they're too good. They're too good. With too much time and space, they're too good. That's what I saw last night.
Yeah, first things first, I could say, after Game 3, I had all this anger I felt like after the game. I think we all did.
Yeah.
In this one, I just had this, sadness.
Disgust.
And it disgust and, shock. I'll just say the word shock. I woke up this morning and I was like, did that really happen? That really happened last night?
That's exactly what I said to Ashley.
And then
I said I had a nightmare last night.
And I had to go back and watch the game this morning, unfortunately, some parts of it. And I'm, trying to relive it because, when it's happening in the moment, I'm just sitting there, in shock on my couch. And I'm just it's going so fast. And I'm like, wait a second, it's 4-4. And when it got to – first of all, when it got to 4-3 last night, you could just see it coming. I'm sure you were in the building.
You could feel it
You could probably feel it coming. And especially when Toronto gets the fourth goal.
It's over.
It just felt over.
It's
and
over.
by the way – you mentioned Andrei Vasilevskiy. I can't hear any more excuses for the guy. 856, you said?
856 8%.
856 save percentage of the playoffs. He's been the worst goalie in the entire playoffs of whoever's played. He's been the worst one. It's not even close. It's not even close. This is a guy that we put on the Mount Rushmore of goalies. And we talk
so.
Rightfully so. Not taking that away from him by any means, but he's been crap.
Yeah.
He's been absolute crap, and it's these long-range shots, and that's what's the most frustrating part about it. And yes, there's tips and everything, fine. But, okay, the Riley game winner in Game 3, got to have it.
Got to have it.
The Riley goal to make it 4-4,
got to have it.
Got to have it. Got to have
it.
it. I don't care if you're screened a little bit. You're Andrei Vasilevskiy. You got to make saves, man. It's again last
the third
night.
Goal in Game 3.
Again last night. I know Samsonov gave up 4, but he probably could have given up 7 or 8 if he wanted it. But he makes really good saves at moments.
Boy, that was another thing last night. I thought the Lightning had multiple golden opportunities to score, especially in the third period.
Yes,
they had breakaways. They had 2-on-1s.
A penalty shot for crying out loud.
They had a penalty shot, which was, gosh, Cagle, what are you doing?
Horrendous.
It just. It was like they're not even trying to score. And for good God, Nick Paul, can you put the freaking puck in the back of the net?
They get nothing out of him.
Jiminy Christmas! He's doing okay on faceoffs, but he's getting nothing. They're doing nothing, and there were so many opportunities to score last night. And yeah, you want to give Samsonov credit. You want to give it, but I'm also looking at the Lightning players like the freaking puck is right there. Put it in the freaking back of the net. They just don't. I don't know what it is.
Well, there was a moment that Killorn got one golden opportunity right in front of Samsonov,
Yes.
and he's standing there. And Samsonov came all the way. I could see it, and he's got the entire left side of the net to shoot at, and he just shoots it right into Samsonov's chest.
Yeah.
And then the
They
golden
did that
opportunity
10
later.
times last night.
Golden opportunity later. Kucherov makes a great steal in the corner, gives it out to Stamkos, who's right in the slot.
Yeah.
And he shoots it right at his helmet.
Yeah.
Right. You got to pick a corner.
Hit him right between the eyes.
You got to pick a corner or something. Go low, maybe 5. I don't know, but they just kept shooting it right at him.
And these guys know this. And
yes, they do.
They're saying to themselves, "Why the hell did I just shoot it right at him?" I mean,
Yeah.
they're just doing things that they are not.
Let me sum it up for you. And I put this out in a tweet yesterday. We have seen things, including the regular season, from this team that we have never seen before.
Never. You're right.
Ever seen before. We've seen 5-game losing streaks. We've seen star players bench. We've seen John Cooper come out and willingly say he was concerned about this team when they were doing similar stuff like this in the regular season at the end there, if you recall. Right?
Yeah.
Now we've seen a team lose 3 in a row after going 1 up in a series. We've seen a team choke away a lead with a minute left to go in one game. And we've seen a team choke away a 4-1 lead in about 6 minutes and change. It happened. It was that quick. And we're seeing an Andrei Vasilevskiy playing like the worst goalie in the NHL right now.
Who are these guys?
Okay? This is not
Who are these guys?
This is not the same team that they have had the past few years. It's not the same group. There comes a time when you have to have certain guys to make it work in the playoffs, right? Yeah. And you mentioned it. The Palats, the McDonoughs of the world, those two guys to me, like McDonough was the glue that held the D together. Palat, I would argue, was the guy who held it together up front, and he was your big-time playoff performer, and he got in there on the back check and the forecheck and all those great things that we love to see in the playoffs. And they're missing those two. They are sorely missing those guys. You throw Chernak in there, it's been a big problem. But even then, the Lightning have been the better team.
They have. That's
in
what
majority
I'm saying.
of this series. It's not. I don't think it has anything to do with how much hockey they've played in the past few years. They don't look slow to me, other than the last 10 minutes where they were just gliding around. And that's the difference. The whole shutdown thing that they've been able to do, they get up by a few goals and they shut it down. That's being mistaken, I think, a little bit now. Right now, they're just playing passive when they get a lead.
Yeah.
They're not shutting it down.
They're backing off.
They're just backing off.
They're backing. Like, if I see one more guy get at the blue line and just back off, especially Nylander. These guys, I don't know, what has he got? Has he not bathed in the entire series?
Just let him walk in. I mean,
nobody wants to get near the guy.
Nobody wants to get near him.
I mean, the beard must, it must be awful, whatever. I don't know what it is, but it's like, what do we do? Like, sure, let's just give up some time and space. I'm just going to keep backing up until I run into Vasilevskiy. And that's enough. There's so much traffic in front of him. Get out. Get out. Don't.
That's part of it.
Yeah, it's
and you're
so
not
frustrating.
And you're not blocking. And they're not blocking shots. That's a big problem too. They're just not. Toronto's just firing it from the blue line all day.
Right. And you mentioned a stat before we came on that was interesting that Derek Lalonde.
Yeah,
said.
Derek Lalonde, which I don't know how I feel about this necessarily, but Derek Lalonde, former Lightning assistant coach, was on TSN.
Yeah.
And he revealed that when he was here with Vasilevskiy, they did a study on this, and they found out that he's statistically one of the worst goalies in the NHL at facing long-range shots from the blue line. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, how many goals last night were scored from the blue line?
3 of the 5 were tip-ins.
From the blue line.
Yeah.
And he's let others go just completely
in.
by him straight in.
Yeah.
Where it looks like he's having trouble picking up the puck.
Yeah.
There's something to that.
Yeah.
And these teams know it. Because that's how Toronto is just scoring their goal. And that's what's the most frustrating part of this. It's like the Lightning are carrying the play, dominating play. They're getting more of the high-pressure chances, I'd argue.
Yeah.
Right? They're working really hard to get their goals.
Yeah.
They really are. And Toronto's just, it seems like there'll be like a random part in the game.
Yeah, just
there'll be a
easy.
random part in the game where they get a little spell.
Yeah.
And they pass it around a little bit, and it's just a shot from the top and in.
Yeah.
That's the most frustrating part about it.
It is. I don't see, Marner and Matthews making these great plays. Although Matthews scored a couple goals last night, the tip-in was
exceptional.
World class.
Exceptional.
His shot, the other goal was a shot. He was wide open, so you give him credit for that. That's why he gets paid to do that.
Yeah, and by the way, adding to the Lalonde thing, they said because of this, they had to change their entire D-zone coverage around his deficiencies with facing the long-range shots from the point.
Which means what? Getting up on the point and blocking those shots.
Yes, and clearly whatever they were doing before, they're not doing anymore.
Yeah, they're not doing now. Because when you get out there and you're blocking those shots and you're leaving yourself exposed in other places, obviously. But you got to understand where your deficiencies are, and right now that's how they're getting beat. And but I still say, if they just look, I understand that has worked in the past, but this is not the same team. It's not the same team. It's not the same personnel, and they're not able to execute it the way the other guys did. So if I'm John Cooper, I'm just like, look, guys, if we get up 4-1, we got to. But it's hard for him to do this because what has he preached his entire life? How many times have we heard it? 4, We scored 4. That should be. We'll play it again today. It should have been good enough to win. Should have been good enough to win. And normally it is when you have Eric Chernak, when you have a healthy Victor Hedman, who's probably playing at about 60%. Braden Point certainly didn't look like Braden Point last night. I'm sure there's something going on there after that ridiculous hit that he got the other night. And let's just be honest, Chernak being out is crushing this team, especially on the defensive side. Dude, this is,
and it's not even the rookies, by the way.
No, the
it's
rookies
not
are
necessarily
playing great.
The rookies. I
rookies
think
are playing great.
Radish is playing with confidence. Perbix has had his moments here and there.
That freaking penalty Bogosian took last night was just ridiculous.
It's Cole and Bogosian that I'm looking at, and I'm like, these guys are having a rough series right now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. And Bogosian, that penalty behind the play, by the way. What are you doing? And he got his stick in between his legs. I think it was I forget who it was, but he saw it and he just dove.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
You're going to, but again, you got to be smarter than that. You just got brutal. And where do you go from here? Where do you go from here if you're the Lightning? It's one game, but as Mark Davis said here, they've played a lot of hockey in the last few years, and they have. They went out in game 1 and destroyed them. In game 3, they were the dominant team.
I can't
Last
buy
night,
that.
They were the dominant team for 2.5 periods.
I can't buy that as an excuse. It was such a narrative going in of how they were going to hold up and whatever when they get into a long series, but I don't see that. I think they have carried the play, and I think they have skated circles around Toronto for a majority of this series. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
But they're not finishing, and that's the alarming part. This is the best finishing team that we've ever seen in the modern era.
You know who our worst enemy is? The Lightning's worst enemy? The salary cap.
That damn salary cap.
Salary cap. Can't we just keep McDonough? Jeff Vinnick would, if this was baseball, Jeff Vinnick would have like $500 million payroll. He'd be like, oh, McDonough, Yanni, we'll keep all of you. Plot, we'll keep you all. And they'd all stay here. They don't want to go anywhere. We'd just be swimming in cups. We'd be swimming in cups. But you got to get rid of Yanni Gord. You got to get rid of Brian McDonough. You got to get rid of Palat.
They've just lost. I'll call it championship DNA. They've lost a lot of championship DNA on this team, and they're not getting contributions from certain. Nick Paul, like you said, he's giving you nothing. He's honestly giving me completely nothing right now. He had a chance in the slot. He finally got in the middle of the ice, which is what Eric Erlandson has been preaching, right? Get him in the middle of the slot, he has a chance, and he just sends a shot completely at wide and everything. Just not even close.
Yeah.
And not involved. It was good to see Killorn last night. Killorn was the best player on the ice for the Lightning.
He was good.
He looked like he was 10 years younger the way he was flying around.
He was good.
But just not finishing games. It's the most alarming thing. And like we said, Vasilevskiy. I don't know. To me, I don't know how they can win anything with the way he's playing in net right now.
And it's not just been the playoffs. It's been all year long.
It's been all year long, honestly. Yeah. He hasn't looked the same. We thought we would get a different Vasilevskiy in the playoffs, a more locked in focus. He waits for these games. These are his moments.
It's funny because when you watched it, I went back and watched the replay last night when I got home because I couldn't freaking sleep. I just needed more punishment.
It was hard to sleep last night. I'm not gonna lie.
So I went and and of course, I went and watched the third period. I said I have to see what happened here, and it was exactly what I saw with my eyes. It's just guys just gliding out there. Mm-hmm. There was no intensity to the forecheck whatsoever. It was very little forecheck, and it's just like we'll act like we're going to play down in their end, and then here they come again. Here they come again. Here they come again. Here they come again. And it's just with that offensive skill, it's just a matter of time.
And they started losing the forecheck battle.
Yeah.
Toronto was dumping
there was no intensity.
Toronto was dumping it in deep, and I'm watching Kerfoot.
No intensity.
I'm watching Kerfoot and all these guys with speed going in there, and I'm looking at the Lightning D-men, and they're just barely kind of moving to the boards, and they're getting beat from behind. And those are the things that just were not happening for 50 minutes.
Yeah.
It's amazing how quick it just flipped. And once it did, everybody, like I said, you saw it coming. The Lightning were done in that game. They were done in that game when it got to 4-3, I thought.
Yeah, no question about it. Let's get to some of your comments here this morning. Thank you guys for waking up with us. We really appreciate it. By the way, on the way out last night, I had no less than 5 people just in 3 flights of stairs and walking to the postgame show. No less than 5 people stop me and say, hey, man, listen to the show every day. Listen to the show every day. James, Jordan last night. Who else? The other, I think it was Rick. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting your names, but thank you guys for coming up and saying hello, and really appreciate it. It made my night, to be honest with after what we just witnessed. So I really appreciate you guys. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. So let's get to some of these comments. Mark Davis saying the team has played a lot of hockey. I know, Mark, but I'm not. Then why did they own game 1? Why did they own game 3? Why did they own the first 2 periods last night? You know, I can't use that as an excuse right now. I think it's more about the way they're playing. Richie P said going in OT, you could just tell it was over in so many ways. Yeah, and we were just waiting for what it was going to, what was going to happen. And, of course, they get the penalty early on. Killorn was just a whisker away from a hat trick. He played well last night. He really did. Richie P, if they lose the series, I'm scared of what the offseason will look like. They're not going to blow it up. They can't because of the contracts that are in place. And I don't want them to. I think this team is a good team. And you found 2 young defensemen this year in Radish and Perbix who are going to really help you moving forward, especially from the salary cap situation.
Yeah.
I like this team next year.
I mean, but unless the playoff system ever changes, get used to seeing this matchup in the first round every single year.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Jordan says no catching the breaks and no puck luck. Yeah, man. I tell you what, they really have. Well, I mean, Stamkos' goal last night was kind of puck luck, right? Hit him in the skate.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So let's not.
And talk about a guy, by the way, who I need again
a little bit more from. Yeah.
I mean, it's documented, right? He's not the guy that I point to that elevates his play in the playoffs. Not particularly.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's had that impact at all. Truthfully, with you,
Kucherov was fantastic last night.
Yeah, Kucherov to me
every time
looks
he got
dangerous. Every time
puck on his stick, it was like, what's he gonna do now?
Yeah.
We're gonna get a scoring chance. Watch. And almost every time it happens, and Killer's goal, both of us could have scored that one. And then he puts it right on the tape of Sergey's, and so it was a great shot by Sergey.
Yeah, and the way he got Samsonov to go left to right.
Yeah,
and Samsonov was slow moving over. By the way, he was very slow moving over.
Yeah, so he was great. Well, the first 2 periods they played really well.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I mean, those 3 guys, though, like you said, Kucherov's dangerous when he has the puck. I don't think Stamkos has it in him at this point in his career to truly enter the zone and try to make things happen. Like, I feel like he's going to be like a secondary guy if something's happening a little bit.
He's going to score on the one-timers from his office on power plays.
I think that's where his game is right now for the playoffs. And to your point, Braden Point, not a lot of zip in his game yesterday.
Not last night, nah.
And I have to think that he's probably hurting a little bit.
Yeah, I heard he's about 60%.
It looked like it. Yeah. I saw a few times where they had some rushes. They were coming forward, and you thought he was going to take on the defender and try to go up the boards, and he kind of would just turn it back a little bit. Yeah. Or you could see the defender was straight up beating him. So that's another thing that's going to hurt them here in this series. If Braden Point is playing at 60% or whatever it is, I don't know. Again, I don't think the chances are great for them to get back in this series.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to see that happening.
Jordan also said, how about the stupid-ass Serg penalty in overtime and Hedman taking a roughing? Well, I think Sergachev had to take the penalty. If not, I think Nylander's walking right in, and I fear he's probably going bar down right there.
Yeah.
Probably in the game. So, again, it sucks that they had to take a penalty in overtime and it ends like that.
They're almost through the kill, too. What was it?
They were almost through the kill. Yeah.
Oh, so close to through the game. And it's a tip-in from Kerfoot, and
they couldn't win but they couldn't win a damn face-off.
Yeah, they
clean wins on the faceoffs, and that was also in the third period too,
the big ones,
where the Lightning would ice the puck and it came back in. I mean, it was clean and it was tic-tac-toe.
Yep.
And right away, Toronto is rolling. They have struggled inside their own zone on faceoffs.
It's like the numbers are not terrible, but
they're even, but they lose the big ones.
Yeah, they've lost the big ones, and it's not only would they lose they lose it clean, and it's just they got to muck things up a little bit more with that. Jordan says, let's see this one. Playing GM, I like it. I'd trade Serge to get McDonough shut down D in the playoffs any day, and now we're going to lose Killorn to Montreal. Montreal's going to throw the cash bag at Killer, and more DNA gone.
It's so hard to look into the future.
I like how much money can Montreal throw at Killer? And is he really going to leave Tampa at this point of his career?
Well, he's the next guy up, where the contract's up, and he has the ability. He's coming. This was his best season.
Yeah.
I told you this. I don't know if we said it on air or off air that I was concerned about, what happened to Killer, because if somebody was willing to give Palat that contract last year, I got to think somebody's willing to give it to Killorn.
Yeah.
And I don't think that team's going to be the Lightning giving him that contract. He would have to take a pay cut. Now, I think he might be willing to. He's one of the leaders of the team, and he's been here he's the longest tenured Bolt, so he might. But again, that'd be another member, though, that you'd have to replace. And it gets to a point where it's just hard to replace him.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to replace him, and then your core is getting older like it is, and this is how dynasties fall, kind of.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And this is why it's one of the reasons they have a salary cap. You know,
It
in
is.
football and hockey is they want, and the NBA, they want to spread out the talent. They don't want teams to like do like they do in baseball. So that sucks. All right, let's listen to Coach Coop after last night. Which and I thought you would expect Cooper to be not pissed, because he's not going to show any panic, even though maybe inside he knows what we know. But I still go back to, I don't. It's such a gut punch. But this team has been the better team for the majority of this series. You can't deny that. So here's John Cooper postgame.
It was
Courtesy Bally
I didn't
Sports
think we were sitting back. We just, their first one they scored was complete. We just got way out of our structure and gave up a rush we should have never gave up. And then in the end, couldn't kill a penalty, and seeing I single goes into the third, and all of a sudden you're down. Did we probably, was that, what's that cliche, play it not to lose? Yeah. I mean, you can look at that now. Guys were trying it. I think we were just, maybe there was a little bit of mindset of, we'll just close this one out. But obviously Toronto had different ideas. And, good for them. It's tough to come back on the road and in a playoff game, and they did, and got to give them credit for it.
They changed their lines around a little bit, and so did you do that to kind of match things up?
No,
Changed their lines.
It was all going good. Like, listen, in the end, special teams became a factor in the game. They got 2 big power play goals in the end, and we didn't cash in on our chance in the early of the third.
It's true.
You take one of those away, or we get one, different story. So that was a difference.
Please wait for the microphone.
Very true.
John, it's 2 games that you did a lot of good things, and they come out empty-handed. How frustrating is that, in terms of the process?
Yeah, it's tough because if you look at the big picture, you're right. We've done a ton of good things, and we've scored enough goals to win. In the end, you got to keep them out of the net. You can't be giving up goals. I don't care, regular season, playoffs especially. You're going to give up 5 goals. I'm not sure you deserve to win the game. You put 4 on the board. That should be a win. We didn't. So in the end, you got to defend, and you got to keep the puck out of your net, and we didn't do it enough. And again, credit to the Leafs.
Okay.
No, who's got anybody else? Yeah.
Coach, a lot of their goals are on deflections. That's tough on Vasilevskiy, isn't it?
Well, it's tough on any goalie. So your job as a defender, you got to get sticks, and you got to give your goalie a chance to see the puck, and some of these we haven't. So, the Matthews power play goal, that's a deflection, but that's just a world-class tip by him. I think the whole thing, they knew what they were doing. So it's a little tough to navigate your way through that when you're shorthanded. But you're right. Like, it seems like some of those are stinging us, so we got to be better at that for sure.
Coop, you mentioned you guys were angry after the last game. What was the feeling like in the locker room? And what would you say the one big thing you guys got to focus on in Game 5?
I don't know about talking about what we have to really focus on. But I think we got to look at the big picture here and say we are still coming to the rink. So it seems it's not done yet.
And you look at the fact that you have been the better team for most of this series. I mean, maybe I'm looking at it through.
Well, you got to finish though.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
And
yeah.
it's I recognize how it sounds right now because yesterday's show we were even in defeat we were singing this team's praises.
Absolutely.
And we were saying that Toronto looked. I thought Toronto was in trouble. You thought the Lightning weren't going to lose the rest of the series.
No.
And I mean they were 4-1. I mean, it was going so great, but you got to win the game.
It's such a different narrative. We're sitting here tonight. We're going, even if it's 4-2, it's 4-3. I'd be like, whatever. They dominated. They closed it out. Let's go to Toronto. Going to kick that ass. And that's the way I would feel. And I still feel.
Yeah, but again,
I will say this: if you want to take a little bit of solace on what the national people are saying and what's going on in Toronto, here's the headline in The Athletic. Lightning Leafs take a 3-1 series lead versus Lightning with OT win. Concerns remain for Toronto despite stunner. Concerns remain for Toronto despite stunner. Now, people would go, well, you're up 3-1. I mean, you two gut punches. How the hell are they going to get up from that? And it's like, oh, yeah, it's Toronto. They don't win anything.
Well, the last time they were up 3-1 in a series, it did not go so well for them.
Yeah.
So, but again, I understand.
Last time they were up 3-2 in a series at home.
I understand.
With the lead, it didn't go well for them as the Lightning came back and won in overtime and then won Game 7. Won Game 7.
I understand that.
It's been since 2004, young Nick.
Listen.
You weren't even born then.
Listen. Excuse me. Oh,
I guess not that old. But it's been a long time since they won a first-round series.
I understand all of what you're saying.
Right.
And I know what everybody's going to latch on to that Toronto's going to choke. Well, you know what? The Lightning just choked.
They choked
okay?
big time. Twice.
They are the chokers right now.
Twice.
What have you done for me lately? The Lightning, what have you done for you've choked.
Yeah.
Okay?
You choked away two wins you should have in them. I mean, think about it.
And I would love nothing more.
This team should be up 3-1.
They should be up 3-1, but they're not. You can't say it anymore.
98% chance to be up 3-1 in this series. A 98% chance.
And that's why they get to play 60 minutes.
And you're sitting here 1-3.
Yeah. And that's what I'd love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. But my feeling after this is over. It's my feeling on it.
Over.
It's over.
Over?
It is over.
Did you say over?
It is over.
It ain't over.
It is done. It is finished.
So we say it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
This was Toronto's miracle on ice moment. This is the Herb Brooks speech.
Rolling.
This is the Herb Brooks speech right here. Our time is done. It's done.
Yeah, their time is.
Toronto they've continued to jump over every hurdle they've had in front of them. They've continued to smash right through them, and they've passed the test because Toronto would lose both of these games and roll over and die like they've done for the last 20 years. Yeah. And really, honestly, go back to 1960 something.
Well, and
that's what they would
honest.
do, but they have not. They've had a different outlook on. There's a different feel around this Toronto team. They're never dead in this series. They're never dead in a game.
Well, and that's why Dubas went out and changed half their team. And, Brian Embaum said last night he was concerned on how that team would assimilate together. And the one thing that this team does that other Toronto teams don't do is they don't quit. They don't quit. They don't choke. They keep coming. And I still think the Lightning have allowed that. In the third period in Game 3, in the third period last night, I think the Lightning, you can say it's playing back. You can say it's playing, you could say it's playing not to lose. You can say, whatever you want to say. They weren't in the other team's end like they were in the most of the game. And to me, that's going to be the difference in this series. I think, and far be it from me to tell John Cooper how to run his team, but to me it seems really evident that this strategy that has worked so well in the past doesn't work without the guys we talked about. Without McDonough, Palat, Chernak, it just doesn't work without a good
So are you telling me, do you think John Cooper's been outcoached in this series?
No, because they've been the better team for most of the series. I think.
But the way they're trying to win games is not working.
The closeout strategy, and whether it's a strategy or it's just the players taking their foot off the gas, which I think is a big part of it.
Well, in Game 3, though, let's be real.
Sat back.
I'm sure, but I still thought the Lightning were going to close that game out. But then it got to 6-on-5, and anything can happen, and Vasilevskiy can't make a save.
You got to make that save.
I don't know what that has to do with the defensive structure or what they were trying to do. And then they went out and dominated overtime as well. They weren't sitting back in overtime there. Yeah. So I don't think that applied to Game 3. I think it definitely applied to Game 4.
Yeah. No question. Definitely Game 4. Although I thought a lot of people said that Game 3 they didn't.
And that's a shame though. And that's a shame though because you have to come in this game especially like Toronto was going in to Game 2. You got to be desperate, right? You're the team that has to win here, like
I
truthfully,
think
to stay in.
Their lack of desperation.
So why would you? That's what I'm saying. Why in the world, knowing that you've been through every single scenario there could be in the playoffs with this group, you know better than to take your foot off the pedal. You've seen how that works out for y'all in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Again, that's the concerning part with this group. Man.
Well, and
they're doing things
maybe
they
strategy's
just don't know
not
what
the
to
right
do.
word, but to me it was lack of intensity in the third period last night. It was a lack of intensity. There was no intensity to our forecheck. There was no intensity to the battles. They were losing the battles. There was just no intensity, especially compared to the first two periods, especially compared to period one. And to me, it's what Coop said. It's like we thought, we were playing not to lose. We thought we were just going to go out there and close it out. And they get a couple of tip-ins, and next thing you know, we're going to overtime. And did anybody – I mean, I'm sitting there doing my intermission overtime, trying to get the energy up in the crowd. I'm like, we need your energy, man. And they're like, crickets. I mean, and I'll tell you another thing. A lot of people left. A lot of people left in the third period.
After the third period?
Yeah, a lot of people were gone. That place was probably 2/3 full for the overtime. And a lot of those were Maple Leaf fans. They didn't leave. Obviously, they just scored 3 in the third period. They weren't leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. No, they weren't leaving. But Lightning fans, there were a lot of empty chairs. So the Lightning fans did not have the requisite intensity either in the third period last night. They were beating the traffic in a playoff game. Let's be better than that, Lightning fans. Let's be better than that. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back on the other side, and we're going to talk about the baseball team. That's pretty damn good.
Get my spirits back up,
Let's go. I see you got your Rays gear on today. Absolutely.
I ain't wearing the Lightning gear. Shame.
I forgot my
Shame.
Lightning. Oh, yeah. A little Lightning color, but that's about it. But, all right, we're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES, lawgroup.com. Personal injury, personal attention. Get the small law firm field from a big law firm that will get you results. That's the Jeeves Law Group. And Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. A great interview with Chris Lugo yesterday, their medical director. If you missed that, go check that out. And Italiano Insurance, Golden Diamond Source, American Mortgage Services, back in 3. Stay with us. Are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Folks, there is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. They'll make it a fun experience. People come from all over to shop at the Gold and Diamond Source because of their great customer service and incredible, impeccable reputation. No sales pressure, no intimidation, and they have the largest selection of hand-picked diamonds. And by the way, diamonds are the April birthstone. So this month only, they are offering 15% off their diamond birthstone collection, available on select products. And you probably heard a lot about lab-created diamonds, folks. They hold no real value. You will have no resale value whatsoever with a lab-created diamond. And of course, it's fake. It doesn't mean as much. The Golden Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, folks. Interest-free financing up to 5 years, a layaway program, 20. And their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation: home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this. Tongue Out Tuesday is trending on Twitter. I don't even know what that is, Tongue Out Tuesday, but I feel like my tongue is out, just like ugh. That's what I feel like on this Tuesday. So, anyway, let's welcome in our good friend Steve Carney, longtime Rays baseball insider at the St. Pete 9. You can also hear him on the UTOR podcast and MLB Special Projects Data Ops. Boy, you got a lot of stuff on your Twitter here, Carney. Damn, what do you got? No wonder you're sleeping in today. You're a busy man.
Yeah, it tends to work out that way, JP. Yeah, and really, the Tongue Out Tuesday, the sound that I think I'm making is after what happened last night. Oh, my God.
Oh, man, that emoji is just perfect, right? The puking emoji. I should have just got up this morning and just put that down 180 times. It'd been perfect. It's just that's how I feel. I just, and think about it from a number standpoint. I said this. They had a 98-plus percentile chance to win both games 3 and 4. At some point in the third period, that win probability. And you lose 2 of those in a row. No wonder we feel like that today. Just
well, I don't know about you, but like to me, watching what happened after that Lightning team went up 4-1 last night, they almost seemed disinterested.
Yeah.
For the last 25, 30 minutes of that game. Like it was around. Like, okay, you're up 4-1. And they're thinking, okay, it's going to be 2-2. We're going to go back to Toronto for Game 5, and all of a sudden, here comes Austin Matthews flying down the ice, and it was like, okay, why isn't anybody on that guy? Where's the guy on? Where's the guy that's supposed to be skating with 34? Because he's skating around like he owns that rink right now.
Yeah. No, you're 1,000% right. And I said on the post-game show last night that you were producing so well. They just lost their intensity. There was no intensity in that third period at all. It was very little hitting going on. They were just gliding around, just trying to, just looking at the clock. Are we done yet? Or is the plane leaving yet? Yeah. Plane's leaving, but you're down 3-1 instead of 2-2. So let's talk about the Rays instead. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm definitely much happier talking about the Rays, the Lightning right now.
What I love, and I'm keeping an eye on it. You guys were watching it much better than I did last night, but I'm watching. Taj Bradley. Now he's down 3. It's 3-2. Where the Astros they're going to roll to a win here, and of course the Rays bounce right back and take the lead and finish it up. And here's Taj Bradley now 3-0, setting American League records. I mean, this is, they didn't hit a home run last night, which is Nick's fault. Just talk a little bit about last night's game and how resilient this team has become.
Yeah, it's not just the resiliency, JP, but it's the top of the order that's been just absolutely tremendous all year long. I mean, from Yandy to Wander to Randy, that 1-2-3 in the lineup has just been absolutely great, and it seems like they were always coming up. That was the best part about last night's Rays game, was like it seemed like, okay, they go down 2-0, but then Wander gets on, and then Randy hits a triple, and then Harold Ramirez, who has been red hot as well, he has a ground rule double, and all of a sudden Houston's 2-0 lead disappears in the matter of just moments. And then when they go up 3-2, you have a feeling, okay, here comes the top of the order again. Here comes Yandy and Wander and Randy, and all of a sudden, before you know it, Jose Urquidy is out of the game, having given up 7 runs. It was like, wow, and where did this come from? And then you start smiling and going, gee, I wonder how many people are going to say, oh, well, they haven't played a real team yet after watching them dismantle the Astros.
They're a pretty good team, I've heard, right? The Astros, not bad.
Yeah, they're not bad. Even without Jose Altuve and without Yordan Alvarez,
I was going to say, Steve,
that team is still really, really good.
I was going to say, you got to put an asterisk on it. Yordan Alvarez didn't play. I mean, that's what everybody was saying yesterday. Doesn't count because Yordan didn't play.
Oh, God, please.
Oh, yeah, Yordan didn't play. They took away the Astros trash can in the in the hallway leading to the clubhouse.
Nicely done. Yeah, we can never stop talking about that, right? That's going to be the scar that is forever there, as far as that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a souvenir that baseball fans can never lose.
That should be in the Hall of Fame. They should have like a trash can in the corner with the dents in the top of it, and then this is the trash can. That definitely.
Yeah, it's gonna be right next to Carlos Beltran's uniform.
And Sosa's corked bat cut in half.
Oh, jeez.
Let's go on and on.
Yeah.
A couple of syringes from McGuire's locker room. Can we go on? A little bit of stickum from Gaylord Perry's glove. I mean, we should have an infamous Hall of. This is a great idea. We're just boarding another great idea, Carney. Let's come up with a baseball infamous Hall of Fame, and we'll have all that memory. Pete Rose betting cards. Can we get those?
Oh my God! all you got to do is go down. Derby Lane is still around, so yes. I'm sure you can find a couple of them sitting there, cigarette stained inside the Derby Lane.
We'll have a jar of Pete Rose vitamins that he used to have. The vitamins.
Yeah.
Quotation marks.
Here's a thing of greenies from the 70s.
I think this is a brilliant idea. We have got to make this happen somewhere. That's what we'll use the old trop for. That'll be the perfect place to house the Hall of Fame of baseball infamy. Would be the perfect place to house that in a stadium built on top of a toxic dump. Sorry,
the Baseball Hall of Shame.
The Hall of Shame. Yes, you nailed it. All right, sorry we got sidetracked. Back to the race. What has been your most play? But we were talking about this last night at the game. We're like, how is it possible that a team that I saw who could score 1 run in 24 innings against Cleveland last year, it's just the same freaking offensive team. It's almost the same team, and they can't stop hitting home runs until last night. They can't. They're leading the league in hitting. They lead the league in every category, home runs, everything. I mean, blowing away the league, especially the American League in home runs. How does Eric Deander? What kind of freaking glass ball does he have, crystal ball, that said these guys, I don't have to do a thing. They're going to turn from the worst offensive team to the best just with a little bit of pixie dust. How the hell does this happen?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the faith that the front office had that these guys are healthy. You look at it, everything that happened last year, the reason why they lost 200 runs from the 2021 season was the fact that Brandon Lau only played 80 games. Wander Franco played 80 games. You had all these guys that had missed significant periods of time, and he felt that, I know that the front office felt that just getting healthy is going to help them immensely from the Francos and the Laus, et cetera, and then getting guys to feel comfortable, and especially with the fact that they're not going to be going up and down this year, shuttling between the big leagues and AAA. So that would help guys like Josh Lowe and Luke Raley, that they felt like they were going to be able to at least give them some consistent time and being able to allow them the ability to make the adjustments that they need to make at the big league level. And especially with Josh Lowe, I think that's been huge for a young player who's finally looks like he's gotten it. And remember, his brother, it took him 3 years to adjust to big league pitching before he started to do well with the Texas Rangers. So I think we're going to see good things out of Josh Lowe, and he's the left-handed bat that this team needed.
Yeah, and I think one of the other keys that they've needed was a consistent Randy Arozarena, and here we are. I mean, he's second in the American League in batting. He's third in runs batting in. He's probably one of the top MVP contenders in the American League, and he's become like this star, it feels like, around baseball after the WBC. I mean, now we have Randy Land. I mean, how exciting is it to watch him play, and what do you think's been the difference with him being more consistent? Is it the new study, the thing with him studying more, or what are you seeing with him?
Yeah, I think preparation is big, Nick, and I think you're right that having games that meant something. You know, we talked to, there were a lot of people that talked about why are they doing the WBC in March when, guys are just getting ready? Why are you making them play games that mean something this early? Well, obviously games that mean something to Randy Arozarena, because it seems like when those games are important is when he comes out and performs his best. And it's been awesome to see. I said this on Twitter yesterday, with everything that's gone on this year with the Rays, the amazing start and everything that happened with the WBC and with Randy, how shocked would you be if Major League Baseball said to the Rays, oh, by the way, in 2024, when we have our series in Mexico City, you're going to be one of those teams that's going to be there because everybody's going to want to see Randy Arozarena in Mexico City playing for his team against another club, whether it's Oakland or if it's one of the Houston clubs like the Texas Rangers. I don't think it really matters, but I do think that if Major League Baseball is smart and they hadn't announced who's going to play in Mexico City yet for next year, don't be shocked if the Tampa Bay Rays are one of those teams that gets announced.
Well, you don't think the Rays would turn down an opportunity to pick up another country as a TV market, do you? Of course not. Well, that's pretty smart.
And of course, the paycheck that comes from being the team. Man, they say a lot of things about Stu Sternberg, but money stupid is not one of them.
No. Hey, you talk about a guy that's brilliant. Who took an advance payment on his TV deal before Bally's went bankrupt to the tune of like $400 million? That dude is smart. He knows how to read the future, and he knew that was coming. So, yeah, very, very smart. Steve Carney joining us here. Talk about this pitching staff with all the injuries that's happened and how they've been able to cobble this together. And, it hasn't been perfect, obviously, at times, but they give up 5 runs and they don't give up a hit, but they can still come back and win the game. It's crazy, but this has been a very versatile pitching staff, and we haven't seen the best of it because we haven't seen the full staff healthy.
Yeah, you think about what they've done, and they've done this all without Tyler Glasnow, which I think is incredible. But this has been the MO for years. Yeah. I remember talking to Andrew Friedman back in the day when he was running the baseball ops department about why they draft and develop pitchers as well as they do. And he looked at me and said, frankly, look, if we have to go out on the free agent market for top quality pitching, we're dead. Yeah. We can't compete with the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Cubs and give pitchers the money that some of those top of the rotation guys are going to get. And he knew that long before guys like David Price were getting 7-year, $217 million contracts. So this was long. I mean, David had just come up when he's telling me this. So he knew this long before. And so that's always been their MO. And it's why, like, it seems like, okay, here comes another arm. Okay, here comes another arm, from guys like Price to Alex Cobb to Jeremy Hellickson to Matt Moore and then to Chris Archer and on and on and on. We've just seen the arms just continue to come rolling in. And the next one up, of course, is Taj Bradley, who most people wanted to see, and now have gotten a chance to see him. And I don't know of anybody who isn't happy with what they've seen out of Taj Bradley. And when Tyler Glasnow comes back, oh my God, here we go.
Glasnow, McClanahan, Rasmussen, Eflin, Taj Bradley. Who am I forgetting? Is there some stud in there that I'm forgetting? I mean, who?
No, but you got to give credit to the guys that have cobbled together that fifth spot since Jeffrey Springs went down. The Flemings and the Yanni Chirinoses. I know a lot of people gave Fleming a lot of flack for his start in Washington, but he's turned around and has had a couple of really decent outings out of that. And I think Chirinos has found himself a really nice role, being able to help limit some of the young guys and their innings. So I think you're going to see him being able to help out guys like Glasnow, who hasn't thrown more than like 115 innings in a season. Yeah. So he's going to take some of those innings. He's going to take some of Bradley's innings because he's 22, and you want to make sure that he's got bullets left in October. He's going to help take some innings off of Eflin's plate so his back can stay right. I really do think that they have found themselves the magic formula to get themselves into a place where, I mean, right now they're on pace to win 140 games, which is absolutely ridiculous. Thinking about this, we're 23 games into the season. The team that won 100 games back in 2021, they won their 20th game in May 13th, as a matter of fact, the 39th game of the season. They're 23 games in with 20 wins. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and it's all because of the pitching.
Hitting ain't been too bad either.
No.
Steve Carney joining us here. You talk about Taj, and I didn't get to see him pitch last night. I saw the first two starts, and I was giddy. I was giddy about the fastball. It's got some giddy up because it gets on you quick, and you can get up to 97. And the curveball is just, it's so tight and breaks and he controls it so well. But then he's just scratching the surface on this changeup or split finger that he's throwing, and it's just devastating, the movement on that pitch. How good can this? I mean, this kid is just a baby. He even looks like a baby. How good can this kid be?
He's got the ability to be real good. He really does. Yeah, the fastball really does have what looks like an extra gear as it's coming towards you at 97. Like, it's like, okay, this is 97, and like, holy crap, it just got past me.
Yeah.
Because it just really explodes the last third of the way to the plate. You mentioned the curveball, which, coming off of 97, here comes 75 with a nice tight loop on it, and then the split finger down that looks like a fastball until it gets to about your front foot and then just dives off the plate. It's really, really nasty, and if he can get that thing going the way he's got the other two, you've got the makings of having three guys that could be, or three or four guys that are potential number ones in your rotation. And that could be really, really difficult for any team in a 5 or 7 game series.
We're talking about the pitching now, and this is kind of just came to my mind. You talk about Taj Bradley and his development. Eflin looks like a much different pitcher this year than he was for majority of his time with the Phillies so far. Obviously, Springs, Rasmussen, even McClanahan, who's got this new change-up grip, I guess. And they were saying it on the broadcast that Snyder did something with on his finger where he puts it on the ball. And it's obviously, look how devastating it was the other day. So
it's unbelievable.
I'm just thinking to myself, if you've heard of it, have any of these teams had any interest in Kyle Snyder as a head coach down the line? Because, they've loved to raid the Rays before. I have to think, how much longer can the Rays hold on to him?
Yeah, I don't know if what Kyle's desire to be a manager is, because when you're a manager, you're not concentrating on the pitching, and that's Kyle's bread and butter, and that's what's made him so successful, is the fact that he spends his off season going around and seeing his guys and seeing how they're feeling, and playing catch with them, and having that close interaction with his pitching staff as a manager. And all you have to do is look at John Farrell. He was really the last big pitching coach that became a manager, and he really did not have the same success managing as he did as a pitching coach, because he had to step away and look at the big picture, and have to talk about hitting, which he really didn't know much about. He's like, look, I have a hitting coach, I have a bench coach. They take care of the hitters, but ultimately he's responsible for that as the manager. So I don't know if Kyle really wants to be a manager. I know he's extremely happy, and I'm sure that they pay him very, very well for his services, probably better than any other team could pay a pitching coach.
All right, Carney, we did a little poll yesterday. We're trying to get a nickname for this lineup. And I think since we put this out yesterday, we were the reason that we didn't hit a home run last night. So I blame Nick. So these are the ones we came up with. The Bayshore Bombers, which won the vote at 60%. The Bayshore Bombarderos, to honor the Latinos.
The firemen.
Which I like, because I want to honor the Latino presence in our because I love Bayshore Bombers, but Bayshore Bombarderos has a little bit of ring to it. You can roll that R. Or the Rayshore Bombers, which, it's a little bit. Is there another nickname that we can give this lineup that's just tearing up the American League in Major League Baseball?
Well, I think you could always give as much flack as Derek Shelton took for the hitting when he was the hitting coach here.
The not hitting coach.
Maybe you give Chad Mottola a little nod and a wink, and you call him like the motorhome or something like that, because they're just motoring over people.
That's
Chad Mottola.
That's a little in the weeds. You know too much about these people. We got to keep it simple. We got to keep it simple for the masses now.
I do.
Right?
I do like Ray. I do like anything that has to do with Ray's Shore. As much as we love Bayshore and all the beautiful people that run on the sidewalk, I like Ray's Shore. It's a good play on words.
Well, I thought Bayshore because there's a Bayshore in Tampa, and there's a Bayshore in St. Pete. That's also right there. So there's these iconic.
Yeah, but
boulevards.
not as many beautiful people run along Bayshore in St. Pete as they do along Bayshore in Tampa.
Well, they used to be beautiful. They're not as beautiful anymore.
Anything with bomberos, the firemen.
Bombarderos. Yeah. I don't know. See if you can get it going. With Bayshore Bombers won it, but I could go Bayshore Bombardero. We're going to get some T-shirts made. Either Bayshore Bombarderos or Bayshore Bombers. I don't know which way we're going to go, but Bayshore Bombers won the poll 60%. So we'll see. But if you come up with something better, let me know, because we got to get a nickname for these
I'll let
guys.
you know. I'll let you know, and we'll have to let our buddy Jeff Attinella know.
Yes, I was going to call Jeff today and see what he can come up with for a T-shirt for this, because I like those ideas. All right, partner, tell everybody what's going on with your content, and because you're all over the place.
Yeah, the big thing with St. Pete 9 that we're starting up is with the Oakland A's having made basically their decision that they're going to move to Vegas, and with the Rays stadium saga looking like it's coming to a close here, whether that when the shovels go in the ground either in St. Pete or over in Tampa, we're going to start looking at 32-team MLB. We've already started to look at what a 32-team league would look like with 4 divisions and 4 teams, kind of mimicking what the NFL has done at 32 teams.
Yeah.
And then also we're going to start looking at what a schedule would look like, what the playoffs would look like with a 32-team league. Yes, it is still 6 or 7 years away from expanding to 32 teams, but it's coming. And it's coming quicker than anybody thinks, and I'm trying to get ready for what it might look like. So that's what we're looking at St. Pete 9 this year, coming up over the next month or so, is what is a 32-team MLB going to look like?
That is interesting. Where do the Rays end up?
I've got 4 different scenarios because there's 4 different teams or 4 different cities that could end up with an expansion franchise, whether you're looking at Montreal or Charlotte or Nashville or Portland.
Yeah.
The most interesting one is if the MLB expands to both Charlotte and Nashville, which I think is highly unlikely, putting 2 teams in the South.
Yeah.
But the Rays would end up in a division with the new Charlotte franchise, with the Braves and Miami, for a nice little tight geographic and in the National League.
And keep in mind that the schedule is going to be balanced, so it's not like you're going to be playing those teams all the time. So, because that would, if it was an unbalanced schedule and we were playing those teams all the time, I probably wouldn't be too excited about it. But that would certainly be a division we could win. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the schedule you would be looking at playing those teams. You would have seven games against each team at home, 7 games against each team on the road. So
yeah, that's
it's not awful.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, who cares where the stadium is? Well, I still care. I think it should be in Tampa just for future growth and future revenue for the team to be able to compete. But we'll see where that goes. We'll talk about that another time. I'm too depressed to talk about that today. Well, that happened to Lightning.
No, God. Let's talk about 20-3, baby.
Let's talk about 20-3, man. And I was going to ask you this before you go. You've been at the Trop for a lot of these games. I've been to 2 already, which I think matches my entire last year. But man, what an atmosphere it's been in that building. It's been crazy. It's crazy what happens when you put 22,000 in there. It feels like a playoff game every single time, and it's fun. And you give some affordable tickets for the fans and do some different things, and boy, look what happens. They show up, and it's been great atmosphere.
They show up Fantastic. And they're all wearing the right uniform.
Yes,
that's the best. That's the most important thing. They're wearing the right uniform.
Exactly. So it's been fun. All right, Steve. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time as always. Always fun to catch up with you, bud. Thanks.
Absolutely, JP. Thanks, bud.
And then come up with the Hall of Shame. I think we got to do that. We had a comment say that we could put that in Ybor City. Yeah.
If something's going to go in Ybor City.
The Hall of Baseball, Hall of Shame would be perfect for Ybor City.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
By the way, we did get some nice responses yesterday of some suggestions.
I'm not sure I liked any of them, though. I think ours are better, but go ahead.
St. Pete Stingers.
Well, I'm not going to. Yeah, I don't think we need to specialize what city we're doing here. That screws up the whole thing. How's that gonna roll if they move to Tampa?
Well, they're right now. This is for this season.
No,
this will change after.
This has to have staying
the Slayers on 16th Street. The word Slayer is a little harsh.
Sounds like a gang.
It sounds like a killing, Yeah. It's a little too hard, probably. I don't want to slay anybody. The Trop Boppers.
That was just awful. The Trop Boppers.
What was wrong with the Trop Boppers? It sounds a little cartoon.
Sounds like a teenage.
Sounds like a cartoon.
Cartoon.
The Tampa Smashed Taters.
I kind of like it, but that's not a nickname. These are like team names. Like a nickname has to sing.
Yeah.
Like Bombarderos.
The Trop
Bombers.
The Trop Bombers. The Trop Bombers.
No alliteration there.
No.
Nothing to do with the Trop.
No.
I'm sorry.
I don't care what anybody
people,
says. I don't care what anybody says. My idea was the best. I don't care what y'all voted in the poll.
Beisor Bombarderos?
The Bombarderos.
I think it just has a lot more.
I presented it to Casey last night. She's like, that's a mouthful.
But it's fun.
It's fun. I want something that's fun. The Bayshore Bombers, to me, feels obvious.
Yeah.
And it feels like a ripoff of the Yankees.
Yes.
So that's why I have altered it.
I agree. I like them both, but if I have to choose, and I like the fact that we're celebrating the Latino influence.
Exactly. I love the fact of that.
Yeah, because that's, and I think the players would like that too. It's a little bit every. Oh God, what do we got?
I'm not going to read that comment.
Yes, read it.
I'm not going to read that comment.
Oh no, that's sexist. Come on, Lonnie, you're better than that. Should we pull a Jim Rome here?
No.
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 You guys want to see what Lonnie said? You can go on.
They could see it.
Well, if they're listening on the app or listening on the podcast, they can't see it.
Well, they can go look at the chat later.
Yeah, there you go. And yes, she is. See what I did there?
Yeah.
No, I got to go see it and learn how to watch us on YouTube. There you go, or Facebook. Richie P chiming in, too. Big Bucks Basement says Bruce Arians sent Hargraves packing because he slacked on a route. He would have absolutely, by this point, sent Devin White to the Texans. Todd Bowles has no balls.
Oh, we'll get into that a little later.
Bucks Basement. Oh. Where are you at? Oh, that was fantastic. I have some thoughts on that Bucks Basement, and I tend to agree. I am not, and I want to ask Todd Bowles or Jason Light this question. You have a player that has been demonstrative on social media in his desire to leave your team, and I don't exactly feel like he has earned this long-term extension of $20 million, but yet your organization continues to say what an awesome teammate he is, what an awesome family member he is, and his behavior is otherwise. How do you square that? Oh, they don't want to hear that question.
Imagine if you were at the Family Foundation yesterday and you asked that question.
That's not the place to ask the question at the Family Foundation when we're doing good things.
Well, the questions were flying though towards Todd Bowles' look yesterday about him. Though
I don't think that's fair.
Not with that tone though.
I don't think that's fair. I don't like going to charity events and asking.
That's always felt weird to me. Like, why is there like
there's enough?
Why is there like a mini press conference at every charity event?
If there's a pressing
it feels
situation,
weird
like we've asked Todd, we've had an opportunity to ask Todd that question about the Devin White trade and ask Jason Light about the Devin White trade. We've had those opportunities. You don't necessarily, unless something big has happened since then, and this is the only opportunity. Which, okay, that's fair. They're going to open it up to the press, but for the most part, I always like to stick to if you're going to do an event like that, stick to what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair, right?
love Lonnie's comments. He's just all over the map.
Yeah, Lonnie's
and one thing he's telling me that Ray's merch is sold
a little
out.
Sexist, but a little misogynist.
A little bit, just a little bit.
We're kidding, buddy. In this day and age.
Anyway.
Yeah, I was watching a reel. I should just play it instead of telling you about it. But I was watching a reel this morning. Somebody sent out, it was a news report from like the early 80s maybe or late 70s. And it was obviously done in like, Macon, Georgia or something.
Yeah. And
the news reporter is, these new laws will not allow for drinking and driving. And some of the local constituents feel like this is not fair. It's like, man, a guy works 11, 12-hour shift. He just wants to jump in his truck and have a couple cold beers. And now I'm going to get arrested for that? What kind of communist country is this? Next thing you know, they're going to make us wear seatbelts all the time. I was like, man has a point.
Why do I feel like those are two rules that you break from time to time?
No, I would never. Would never. Drink and drive? No, I would never do that. What, and have, not wear a seatbelt? Of course you wear a seatbelt, because that damn thing will just keep dinging and dinging and dinging.
True, and that's why you wear the seatbelt now.
And you can't get around it. You used to be able to get around it a little bit, strap it behind your back or something like that, but no. I once had a doctor ask me, he's like, at a physical, he's like, do you wear your seatbelt? And I'm like, well, yeah, most of the time, yeah. Most of he goes, because that's the number one way people die. You got to wear your seatbelt. That's just kind of stupid to not wear your seatbelt. Because it's not as uncomfortable as it used to be, by the way.
I don't like the feeling of not being like, I don't know.
Buckled up?
Buckled up. I don't like the feeling. It feels a little too open for me.
It used to bother me, I'll be honest with you. Because, we grew up and we didn't wear seatbelts.
Yeah, well.
we were in the back of the Cadillac, which was like a gym. The thing was so freaking big. And, I'd be running around back there with my brother.
Wait, how old were you when you were first allowed to sit in the front seat?
Oh, God. I was a big kid, so probably 6 or 7, I would think. 6 or 7? Yeah.
My mom didn't let me get up there until I was like 10.
We got to get, I'm not surprised at that.
No.
Not surprised at that. Mom takes care of you. My mom was like, had a martini in one hand and a cigarette in the other while she was driving. We had a heater and a drink working, no seatbelts on. Right? I'm driving down there. No, that's the way we did things back in the 60s and 70s, bro. I'm not saying it's right, but that's, you think my mom was worried about me wearing a seatbelt?
Oh,
Thank God, no. Roxy had the Dionne Warwick turned up and a heater in one hand and a roadie in the other. God bless her soul. All right, we'll take a break. Chief knows what I'm talking about.
Maybe you could ask Chief these questions. So we can talk about anything
Chief
but
and
the
Roxy
Lightning.
would have got along good.
So we can talk about anything but the Lightning game last night.
Yeah,
please.
let's avoid talking. Bobby and Chief Taylor coming up. We're going to avoid talking about the Lightning at every cost. We'll see if we get through the whole interview. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Have you heard about the True Body Machine? Lugo was on yesterday. Chris Lugo was on yesterday talking about getting great results with that. So if you don't want to work out a lot and you still want to get abs, he's got a way to do it. BAMMC.com. Get on the website, make an appointment, get on over there and get your abs. Just hook up to it. You could be smoking a heater, having a martini while you're doing it. All right, we're back in 3. Stay with us. Folks, there is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. They'll make it a fun experience. People come from all over to shop at the Gold and Diamond Source because of their great customer service and incredible, impeccable reputation. No sales pressure, no intimidation, and they have the largest selection of hand-picked diamonds. And by the way, diamonds are the April birthstone. So this month only, they are offering 15% off their diamond birthstone collection, available on select products. And you probably heard a lot about lab-created diamonds, folks. They hold no real value. You will have no resale value whatsoever with a lab-created diamond. And of course, it's fake. It doesn't mean as much. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
Oh, my God. I'll just play this out of this thing here. Oh, my God. There you go. Here, I'll put it up.
At least drink 1 or 2 beers. They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And Pretty soon we're going to be calling this country.
Somebody sent me that from the 80s. That's the way it used to be, folks, in case you're wondering. Bobby the Chief Taylor remembers those days, right, Chief? What's up, partner? How are you?
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine? Well, when you were a kid, you never had bucket seats. You always had bench seats.
Yes.
Gosh sakes. So how's that girl going to get close to you if she has to wear a seatbelt?
It doesn't work that way, bro. It doesn't work
I
that
know.
way. She got to slide. She got to slide all the way over. I had in high school, I had a 73 Charger with bench seats, right? This jacked up in the back, big fat tires. And, you had to, and I had, but there were so many holes in the front seat, right? I took this old leopard skin blanket that I had, and I put it over the front seat, so that was my seat cover, a leopard skin blanket in my 73 Charger. And you get she slide right over on that bench seat. Hell, she'd be in the driver's seat. Absolutely.
Oh, I had a 52 Chevy.
Yes, you did, Chief.
Oh, yeah. And of course, gas was what, 28 cents a gallon?
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a little bit rusty because the back seat behind the driver's seat was the rust had gone right through to the floor, through the floor. So we had a piece of plywood there. So whenever we had a guy that wanted a ride and we didn't like him, we'd sit him back there, and I'd slide the board up towards me and drive through every mud puddle and slush puddle there was, so the guy would never ask us again.
That's right, Chief. I'm laughing because I had a car like that. We, they had our kids had sunroofs on their cars. We had sun floors. we had rust through the floor. If you didn't have a hole in the bottom of your car where you could see the road, your car was way too nice. Way too nice.
Oh, heck yeah.
I had a car that was literally the back door was tied on with a piece of rope. And you started it with a screwdriver instead of a key because the ignition thing was broken off. That car was so bad. I got a flat tire on the way to school. It's a true story. We're avoiding talking about the Lightning, by the way. I drive to school. I got a flat tire, and I didn't have a spare and didn't have money for a spare, so I parked it in an empty lot right there on Hollywood Circle. I came back a day later, and it was gone. So I called I'm like, who the hell would steal that piece of shit? So I call the cops, and the cops are like, oh yeah, somebody thought it was an abandoned car, and we've towed it away to the dump, and they've already crushed it. They crushed my car. It was such a piece of shit. They thought it was an abandoned car. Took it to the lot and smushed it. I'm like, what? Come on, that thing's worth like $150. I want my car back. These kids are driving around in brand new Mercedes. They don't know nothing about what it was like. All right. We've put it off long enough, Chief. What the hell happened in the third period last night, from your vantage point?
Well, I thought, one of the things that we've talked about, and I noticed, every time that we outplay Toronto, we really put pressure on them to play in their own end for long stretches of time.
Yep.
And, because, they're a very high-powered offensive team. And they like to play offense. As we always talk, you and I have talked about this for years now. Defense is boring and hard work.
Yep.
Well, offense is so much more fun. Well, what we did, in my estimation, we stopped back and went on that, instead of challenging them and forcing them in their own zone all for the first couple of periods like we did. About the 12-minute mark, we started to sit back again.
Yep.
Play that rope-a-dope thing. And all of a sudden now we're giving them much more time to coming through the neutral zone very, very quickly. And we're just trying to clog the middle, and it wasn't working. These guys are so skilled, and all of a sudden, what is it? They scored 3 goals in under 7 minutes, around 7 minutes. But it started halfway through the period. We went to that, strong defense or something. It's the old Marion Campbell bend don't break defense type thing.
Right.
And you know what? But against this team, that doesn't work because you give them too much time and space with the puck, and they got too many playmakers there. And that's what, in my mind, that's basically what happened.
Yeah, and also, I mean, all the goals that Toronto seems to score for the most part, I mean, they're shooting them from the blue line, and they're getting a lot of deflections. And you know, you don't put the deflections necessarily on Vasilevskiy, but I look at the Riley goal in Game 3 to win. I look at the goal that he scored yesterday to make it 4-4, and a few others. I mean, how alarming is it? Just the play of 88 in this series. I think he's an .856 save percentage, and it seems like he's really having trouble picking up these shots from the blue line.
Well, one of the things about deflections, guys, you don't have to deflect the puck very much. You can deflect it 4 inches, 5 inches.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming at you at 90 miles an hour. So you're getting set for that puck, and it changes its course just a little bit. That throws you right off. That's one of the hardest things in the world, other than a screenshot, which you don't see. Deflections are very difficult to stop. And, you know, I've been there, done that. And when you can see the puck and coming at you 90 miles an hour, you know, it's like playing catch. If you can't see it, and if it just changes its direction, and when they change the direction, it's about, you know, 4 feet out from you, 5 feet out from you. So where you got a 90-mile-an-hour shot or plus coming at you from the blue line or just inside the blue line, you're already making that move for it. Now he changes it. Now your balance, every which way he's going, is changed, and the puck can elude you. And that's the whole thing about it. It's deflections are very, very hard. That puck is flying at you, and when you see it and the guy shoots it, you're moving for that shot right away. The deflections just change everything, the whole dynamics of that shot, and it really fouls you up. That's a very difficult shot to stop.
And you know, Chief, it seems to me like you know, and you mentioned that strategy, and I talked to Brian about this last night on the postgame show. They've done this so well in the past. The problem is they don't have Chernak, they don't have McDonough, they don't have Palat. It's guys that were so good and Vasi is just not Vasi. For whatever reason, an .856 save percentage is just not Vasi. So
right.
It seems like it's the strategy that's worked very, very well for them in the past. But, you know, here's 2 games in a row. They've had a 98, 99%, win probability in the third period at certain points, and they've got gut punch 2 times in a row. So I maybe they're not blocking shots like they used to from the point. Is there anything else that you see in that strategy that's a flaw, or maybe it's just a lack of intensity? That's what I saw in the third period. There wasn't the intensity that the Lightning were playing with earlier in the game and keeping it down. Like you said, your best defense is a good offense. You keep it in their zone, and Matthews and Marner and those guys have to play defense, which they don't want to do. Their offense is going to suffer, but it didn't in the third period.
Exactly, but also too, we're not. If you're back in the defensive zone, you can't, just because you're standing beside a guy doesn't mean you're checking him.
Yeah.
If you watch now, I mean, think about it. I think Toronto had something like 28 block shots. 28.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we're standing there, but we're not even blocking out. That's the thing for me, is that if you got a guy, the shot's coming from the point, you better make sure that you've got that guy tied up or you're blocking him out in front of the goaltender.
Yeah.
And we don't do that very well. And that's the one thing that it's so easy to sit there and look at it. And deflections, honestly, I don't fault any goalie on a deflection because I know exactly how that feels.
Yeah,
but these wide open shots, and there's some that are going through you and you're not picking them up. But if you've got a guy standing in front there, these guys' eye-hand coordination, their offensive ability is great. You've got to tie the stick up.
Yeah.
They're doing it to the Lightning. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. I mean, think about it. I mean, I watched that their goaltender, and I'm telling you, he doesn't move really well. He gets his weight on the wrong foot all the time. He doesn't find the puck real well, and yet the pucks have been hitting him.
Yeah.
Because he gets in a position where there's no deflection and there's no screen. And it's the easiest way in the world. Like that shorthanded breakaway with that Hagel had. It just hit him. He didn't even move to make the save. If you watch the replay, it just hit him.
Yep.
So there's all these little things that Toronto's not doing, and let's put it this way, that we're not doing that Toronto is doing against us. For me, I don't care if the shot's deflected at the hash marks. If it's coming at you at 95 miles an hour, You're moving before, when you think it's coming this way, and then you got to get deflected. But what bothers me is that we don't challenge them at all at the blue line. We did the game number 1 here when we challenged them, and that they couldn't do a thing there. They had 2 shots in the overtime until the last 2 minutes, and then they finally scored.
Yep.
I mean, we weren't challenging the puck carrier at all in that third period, and that's the thing that, boy, they could just really get excited. And if you're not getting challenged and you're not really getting harassed, offensive players can play with their head down and they can make these fancy plays, because all these kids that come into the game now, I don't care what team they are, they all know the offensive game. It's when they have to learn this, the defensive game, and that's what beats teams, especially in the playoffs, because you have to play much more defense. And when we're in their end all the time, they have to play defense, and they're not a very effective team. But give them time and space, as we did in that third period, you saw the result.
Bobby the Chief Taylor joining us here. So, as Coop said last night, we're still playing. That's the good news, but it's got to be tough for the Lightning to take these 2 gut punches at home and now have to win 2 of 3 up in Toronto. That being said, I think when Hedman's been on the ice in games 1 and 3 and 4, the Lightning have been the better team. And he's going to keep playing. I don't know if points 100% or maybe even 80%. But what are their chances now to go up and steal? And I thought it was funny because the Athletic. I'm reading the Athletic this morning, and you would think that that they'd be all just the national media be giddy about Toronto, but they're like, the headline was, the Leafs take 3-1 lead in series versus Lightning with OT win. Concerns remain for Toronto despite the stunner. I mean, they're up 3-1 and they're still concerned. I mean, but that's Toronto, right? They haven't won shit since 2004. Maybe it's not over.
Well, no. I'll tell you what. I mean, it's a very difficult. It's going to be a very difficult thing to do. But watch the body language. This is what I was really upset. Like the last game when they lost in overtime, they were angry. And the body language was still that the determined look to them, and and their movements.
Yep.
Didn't see that last night.
No, not in the
Didn't
third
see
period.
that at all. It would look like it was like, oh my God, we lost that game. How can we lose a 4-1 lead? That was one of those things.
Yeah.
And the thing that made what we were talking about before the game was, they were angry, and that after that loss. So now that anger really carried over, because that's when they dominated.
Yep.
And they really started to score. And the one thing that, and I sound like Phil now, we don't shoot the puck enough on a goalie that's really struggling. Yeah. I don't think we read other teams' goalies very well, because you got to see that if they're, if they're moving and their balance gets all off and everything, like Killorn's goal, his first goal, he moved right out for the shot, and as he tried to get back, I mean, it looked like a deer on ice. He's flopping all over the place, and you got to read stuff like that, and I'm not so sure these guys do. They just go ahead and do things that they do all the time instead of thinking about what's going on.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just you try to look for everything on reasons why it happened, and some of it, when you shoot the puck at this guy. But think about it again: 28 block shots. You got to get that puck through. And that's not even counting the stuff that was missed in that.
Yeah, we missed it.
We had something like 70-plus shots towards their net last night.
Yeah.
And you lose the game.
Yeah, that should be enough.
That's not right.
No, they dominated the play. That's why I think there is a glimmer of hope here for the Lightning. Is, first of all, there's a championship mentality to this team. We've seen Andrei Vasilevskiy flip the switch and just go from, maybe not so good to just shutdown mode and 6 shutouts in elimination games. He can do it. Although he seems to be searching for it as well. I don't like the body language that I've seen on Vasi. I mean, I've seen him when he's locked in. His eyes look different. His body movement is different. He looks like he's fighting the puck right now too.
Yeah, a little bit. He is. That's the thing. I think his confidence is a little bit shaken. But and it's really funny. The more shots he gets, the better he plays.
Yep.
He's really been. The team has really limited the number of shots at him. But one of the things that there's still a doubt in Toronto's mind, except for some, like they made new guys here. Yep. That O'Reilly, that McCabe, There's about 4 new guys that they got there that haven't been with the history of this team. So that might help them, because if we win that game on Thursday, all of a sudden the doubt will creep into their minds. Oh no, is this going to be, is this deja vu? Where we're going to blow another 3-1 lead like they've done a couple of times in the series? Well, they got these new guys here, and especially a guy like O'Reilly, who's such a strong leader. He hasn't been there. He hasn't even thought of that. So that could be a real big catalyst for them. But for me, the rope-a-dope, I can see it if it's 4 or 5 minutes to go. But when you're starting it at 12, that just allowed them to get their offensive flow going. They didn't score until 7 minutes to go or something to that effect. But they still started to get their offensive flow going.
Yep.
And if we jumped on them early in that period and kept them going in their own end like we did in the first 2. Then you defeat them mentally as well, and they don't get that flow going.
Well, we'll see if they can turn it around, Chief, my man. It's kind of like rumbling down, I-95 and that old '72 Charger with 2 holes in the bottom of your of your car. You know what?
It exactly was a Chevy 52.
That's right. I'm talking about mine. Or we could use yours. Yeah. But you know what? It had 350 horses under the hood. The Lightning still got a lot of firepower, and they ain't dead yet. So we're still going. We don't have our seatbelt on. We got a martini in our hand and a heater in the other. But we're down 3-1. We can still come back. We'll see what happens, buddy. Thanks,
you bet.
Chief. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
You got it.
That's my metaphor for the day. That's the one you get. Man, it's doable.
They're dead.
They've blown 3-1 leads before.
They're
Lightning
dead.
have come back from 3-1 before.
They're dead.
You're calling it. Flat line.
I'm just calling it.
You're calling it?
I'm calling it.
I see a little pulse. I see a little beep.
I picked Toronto to win the series.
Yeah, you did.
Pains me to do it, but I just
I wanted to be so right last night, and I'm sitting there in the third period going, I knew it. I'm telling everybody, I told you they were going to destroy them tonight. They're going to win. They're going to wrap this thing up in 6. We're the better team. Blah 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 blah. Literally walked out of the Chase Club down, which is usually when the game is in hand. I go down to watch it with Paul Kennedy and whoever is the analyst last night. It was Adam Hall.
He was Adam Hall, yeah.
So I'm down. I'm like, I say goodbye to my friends in the Chase Club. See you Saturday. Not so much. And then I come walking back up with my tail between my legs to do the overtime report. Wasn't happy about that. Almost forgot.
So you jumped the gun.
I totally jumped the gun.
Mm-hmm.
I said my goodbyes to the Chase Club folks. See you Saturday.
Mm-hmm. So I found
in October.
So I found out the problem here.
So it was me.
Yeah,
it was me. Might have been. Yeah. As soon as I did that, the guy saw that and took their foot off the gas pedal. My fault.
Yeah. Look at that. JP's calling it a day.
At least
that means we're calling it a day.
No, I was getting ready for post game. Is what I was doing. I was going to go get a little different perspective from Adam and Paul. A little bit down there. To add to the entertainment value of the post-game show. We're going to be giggling and having a good old time. Me and Brian, laughing about Toronto. That's what I thought. Didn't turn out that way. Got to finish. And that was no good finish for the Lightning. But they still got a pulse.
I hate that we just had to talk about it for 20 minutes because I'm upset again. I'm thinking about it and I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock about that. Is that this has to be the worst 2-game stretch in Lightning history.
No question. I said that last night on the postgame show. I cannot remember 2 back-to-back losses this gut.
The Washington when they were up 3-2 to your point, and then they got shut out in Game 6 and Game 7.
But we were getting beat up and we were tired and broken.
That hurt because they just gave you nothing for 2 games in a row.
They gave you nothing. You had no hope. From the opening face-off, they were just destroying the little Lightning at that time.
Yes.
The little quick Lightning finesse team.
Yeah, and I guess the Columbus didn't feel well either. So maybe I'm over it. There have been some bad moments maybe.
Well, the Columbus thing was
I just thought we were past that. The Columbus thing was I just thought we were past that.
But I'm talking about late losses, gut-wrenching. I would say, you can put a number on everything now, right?
Well, Columbus, they were up 3-0, remember, in the first game,
Yeah.
and it flipped just like that.
Yeah, I was walking out of the Chase Club in the first period going, this series is over. But from a win probability standpoint, and my good friend Bobby Fenton, who does the playoff recap on the Strike, 102.5.2, by the way, or the Lightning app, so check that out after every playoff game. Him and Steve Versnick, and they were mentioning that this morning, 98th percentile in the third period of both games, win percentage, or win probability. They always put the win probability up there. So I think if you go back and look, back-to-back losses where your win probability was 98, 99% in both games in the third period, no, I don't think that's ever happened before. And that's all based on, the tens of thousands of games that have played. Time and score has nothing to do with individual circumstance. It's all numbers based. Time and score, how many one-goal games have been won or lost in the last minute?
Yeah.
99% of the time the team wins.
Yeah.
Say how many 4-1 leads in the third have been, from a number standpoint, time and score have been given up. That's how they come up with these win probabilities. And probably throw in, road, home, the whole nine. So from a number standpoint, no, it's never happened.
Yeah, and I tell you too, I had to just when something like that happened yesterday, and I guess I can't. This has to be what it feels like to be Toronto for the last whatever years. I have to just turn off Twitter. I can't. I had to get my last tweets off, and I just needed to lay down and turn off Twitter because I already saw a bunch of tweets about the COVID cups.
I'm not live. I'm not subjecting myself to that. No. I have a choice.
I saw those things and I said,
no,
I'm out.
No,
I'm out.
Don't need it. Do not put the garbage in your head. Do not allow it to go in. All right, you can control that. You control your mind.
Oh, I control.
The other way around. All right, let's take a break. We come back. I want to hit some Buck stuff because I got a bone to pick with Todd Bowles again. My friend Todd Bowles. What are we doing here? And did you see the NBA last night?
Oh, man.
Some interesting things going on in the NBA.
Mr. Brooks. Whew.
Oh, didn't want to talk to the media last night. Oh, that's not how it works, young man. We will discuss when we come back. We're brought to you by the Golden Diamond Source. It's April still. You got Diamond Birthstone and some nice discounts on diamond jewelry over there. We got Mother's Day coming up as well, so you got to get that going. The Golden Diamond Source, that is the place to go without question. So get on over there, 3800 Omerton Road, and always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in 3. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the good folks at American Mortgage Services, Scott Fitzgerald and Clayton over there. Good folks. Clayton's a big USF fan, which I meant to talk about USF yesterday because I was talking to some of the fans on Twitter this past weekend. But American Mortgage Services, great folks over there. They've got some interesting new programs over there to kind of help you navigate through the high interest rates, variable rates, a lot of different things they can do. So if you're thinking, rates are too high, I don't want to buy a house right now, can't get a mortgage, talk to them. They've got a lot of different things going on. They can work your way through it. They can save you in fees. There's some different programs going on. So just have a conversation with them. If you're not in the market because of the high rates, see what they can do, because they can help you out in certain situations and get you a strategy where you won't be paying as much as maybe you think you would. So reach out to Scott Fitzgerald, scott@amstampa.com. Tell him you heard on the JP Show if you would, and just have a conversation with him. Like, what can we do now? Where are rates? Where are they headed? In fact, I need to get Scott on and we'll talk a little FSU football and get you some information on rates and everything too. So we'll get him on soon. Coming up. But that's the good folks at American Mortgage Services, scott@amstampa.com. All right, so yesterday, Todd Bowles was at a function yesterday for
was it the Arians Family Foundation Gala or whatever it is?
Yeah. And usually they have a little press thing for that. And he reiterated the fact that they're not going to be trading Devin White at the upcoming draft. Which, it is kind of lying season, so you never know if, not impugning Todd in any way, but this is what they do at this time of year, throw people off.
Yeah, well, he's been saying the same thing since, September, October, November, December. Mm-hmm. Doesn't change.
Yeah. He said, when asked about that, he said, we got him on board for another year, like Jason Light said. We discussed it. We know we're not trading him, and we'll go from there. We know it's the offseason right now, so nothing counts, and we're expecting him to be there when the season starts because he's not at OTAs. He said, I think we said he's got 90% of the guys are in there. He's not one of them. He said, it'll be up to him, but we'll coach the guys that are here in terms of coming in. We've got a good crowd in right now. We're happy everybody is coming to participate. Says things don't stand anywhere. It's the off season. Everything is voluntary. So there's really nothing to talk about at this time. But once you get into the mandatory and the season starts, then you can talk about it. Former Bucs coach Bruce Arians, who serves as a senior assistant to Light, said he has some simple advice for White. Come on back, earn your money. It's there. Go earn it. That's all you got to say.
That was Bruce's comments.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What was the
word? By the way,
Arians
won't be in Tampa much in 2024, he said.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So Bruce Arians said, come on back and earn.
Earn your money.
Earn your money.
Earn your money. What a concept.
And here's the thing is Bruce Arians will just come out and say it.
Yeah.
You need to earn your money. Mm-hmm. Jason Light's not going to say that.
Nope.
Todd Bowles is not going to say that.
Nope.
Bruce Arians doesn't give a flying F. And I bet if he was the head coach, I don't feel like it's just it's a case of, well, he's not the coach anymore, so he can be more open. No, he'd say the same thing.
Oh, no, he'd say the same. He'd probably say it more emphatically.
He'd say the same thing.
Yeah.
And, again.
That's accountability.
Yeah, about to say, and that's why you had a bone to pick with Todd Bowles. Because everything to me.
So if Seattle comes at you and says, we're going to give you the 20th pick for Devin White, you're not trading him? Really?
Well, I think that's completely unrealistic.
It's not unrealistic.
The 20th pick?
Listen.
The 20th pick is unrealistic.
They've got 5 picks in the top 100, I believe. 5 picks. Okay, 2 1s, 2 2s. They want 5 rookies running around. And Devin White's not old. He's in his prime. You can trade to get a guy in the middle who you can build.
But they don't really need Devin White, is the thing.
Well, Bobby Wagner ain't getting any.
No,
younger.
But they brought him back, and they also have Jordan Brooks. They also have Jordan Brooks, who took big strides last year. That was their former first-round pick in 2020. So I think they're kind of set already. And I think
that's 1 linebacker.
It's 2 linebackers right there.
Bobby Wagner is done. He is toast.
You wanted to trade for Bobby Wagner.
Well, in terms of
Bobby Wagner is not
future,
toast.
The future. I'll stick him in there for 1 year while we draft somebody to groom with that 20th pick, or use it on something else and get a second rounder that can play better than Devin.
No, I like the idea of going after a team that has the picks, but I don't think Seattle would want him.
Well, I would think that they would want some
I don't think
experienced
any
players.
team. I don't think any team wants to pay this guy 20. I mean, and
I don't think
barring
so
there being one team out there, and there always could be the
never know.
case. I just fail to see a team out there that wants to take on the commitment of bringing in Devin
I'm not
White.
saying that. Listen, if somebody wants to give me a 2 and a 5, like for Roquan, how do you not trade Devin White? And how do you want to sit there and say he's part of the family and all this stuff, but Daddy over there is out, on the town.
He's got one foot out.
Scooting around with the Philadelphia Eagles over there, hanging out with her, and it really ain't being a good dad and it being a good part of the family here. He's out doing his own thing, and he wants to bug out and get more money. That doesn't sound. He ain't coming to OTAs. Does that sound like a leader to you? And
No.
a guy. I'm sorry, you have not earned a long-term deal.
No, and that's my thing is I think
and to coddle somebody like that.
It is.
I'm in the Bruce Arians camp. Go earn your money.
It's the way that they speak about him as if he could do no wrong.
Right.
And I think that's
what
what.
tape are you watching?
That's what rattles me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think it for the Bucs' sake though. If he stays here for one more year, I think that it would still be his last year here in Tampa regardless because
why keep him?
I don't see him going out there and earning a $20 million payday. To be honest with you, I don't see it happening at this point.
I don't want a guy.
And I think after that they would probably just say, okay, well now you're a free agent, go sign with someone else. So I think this is his last year in Tampa regardless. So what does it do for Tampa Bay? I think they still need to address that position in the draft, maybe higher than they wanted to, right?
Yeah.
And maybe this makes it to where they would likely start trading back and acquiring more capital because I think they got to invest in this pretty highly now.
They got to get
especially with Levante David being 33 and in his final year.
Yeah, I think honestly it's one of the most pressing needs they have. Because listen, I don't want Devin White out there playing if his heart's not in it.
And they need to address it anyway because, for Devin White's faults, it's still if you think Devin White is something, you haven't seen KJ Britt and Russell when they're in there either. It's a big drop off when those two guys are in there though.
Well, go find somebody that's
so
better.
That's what I'm saying. They have to get somebody else in the linebacker corps anyway, even if Devin White was fully on board. Yeah,
but even more, I just don't like. I think accountability is a culture. Todd Bowles said himself he has to change the culture.
Yeah.
The culture has to change back to the way it was in 20 and 21, and having a guy that's out there cuddling up to another team on social media, moving all of his Buck stuff from his social media, sending out premature posts and all that silly stuff that young kids do these days.
Yeah, not guys who are going in their 5th year and are team captain.
No. That's very unbecoming. And if you want to be that guy, fine. Go be that guy someplace else. You want to go chase the money and chase the fame? I want guys that are in it for the team, that are in it for their brothers. And I understand contracts and chasing money and all that stuff. There's better ways to do it. And I go to the Bruce Arians camp. Earn it. Go earn it.
Yep. But again, the response from Todd Bowles, it's why I'm watching him very closely this year.
That's not what I'm looking for.
It's not what I'm looking for.
Todd, if you want to change the culture, change the way you're doing business.
Yeah.
Don't be heaping praise on guys like this. Learn a little something from Bruce there and call them out publicly.
Yeah.
If these guys want to do all their stuff publicly, what harm is it in you as a coach calling them out publicly? You want to put your business out there on Front Street with your little green heart emojis for the Eagles stuff? Oh, taking care of their own, Jalen Hurts. You want to do that? Then we'll put it out on Front Street. Hey, look at this play. Look at this play. Look at that play. Look at this play. Instead of defending these guys when they loaf all over the place and say what great players he is, and how much you want to keep him, he's untradeable. You ain't changing the culture like that. That you're sending messages to all your players. Go ahead and do that stuff on social media. We'll defend you publicly. What are we doing?
He's still. That's why Todd Bowles to me is still the biggest question mark on this team.
Absolutely.
That nobody's really talking about. I don't think.
No.
Everybody's pointing about the positions and this and that, and
who's going to be the quarterback? Is our offensive line good enough?
And meanwhile, I think the Bucs have a head coach who probably ranks somewhere in between 26 and 32. If you were to rank the 32 head coaches, I think he's somewhere in there. Based on my 5 years to go off of.
Hard to argue.
As
much as I love the dude personally.
And this is his coaching staff that, we gave him the built-in excuse last year. Wasn't your staff, whatever. The pressure is just, it's so big on Todd Bowles this year.
It's not just like the fact that the lack of accountability late in the season when we're, busting coverages with CD Lamb wide open. It's the same guys making the mistakes.
In-game management, all those things.
Devin White getting taken advantage time and time again, and he's still playing. All those things.
Yep.
And he's a big reason that this team did not perform up to expectations last year. You're the head coach.
Agreed.
It falls on you, and you could sit there and talk about this isn't his coaching staff. Well, then fire Byron Leftwich. Offensive coordinators are fired in the middle of the season all the freaking time. And this whole idea of I don't know if we have anybody to do it. If the guy that you have put in charge is not doing what you tell him to do and is really just going rogue. And as you look back on it, those press conferences were more about giving everybody the finger, and I'm going to do it my way, including you, Todd Bowles, by the way. And you don't fire that guy.
Yep.
I don't care if I got to call the plays. I'm doing it in that situation. But I got a staff full. I got 75 offensive coaches. Not one of those guys you could put the faith in calling plays. At least they'll do what you want them to do, I would think. So I love Todd Bowles as a person. I can't say it enough.
Yep, but the pressure's there.
The pressure that we're talking about, how is he managing this team, the messages he's sending out, the accountability or lack thereof. We got to call him out on it.
Anyway, we got 5 minutes left here, so I wanted to hit a couple stories that came over yesterday.
LeBron James.
Well, before we get there, just because we were on NFL.
Oh, yes.
Any comments on it being official? Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet.
I've tried to get through this whole show without talking about that.
I know that, but I
Everybody
left
else
it to
can
the
talk
end.
about it. I don't give a rip.
So you have no comment on Aaron Rodgers?
I will say this. I was watching SportsCenter this morning, and David Lloyd went on this soliloquy of how shitty he was last year. He didn't have a 300-yard passing game last year.
Not one.
His lowest quarterback rating in his history, and nobody wants to sit here and say maybe he's a little too old for this.
Yeah,
you just gave up a 1 and a 2 basically,
to
get a 40-year-old quarterback who sucked last year. And
I don't know. I never know if he's in or out.
And you never know if he's in or out.
No,
he's
and
not a great leader.
And this is why this is my thing I'll say
and
about it.
And the Jets are like, oh, we got a quarterback. Oh.
Yeah.
Mike Greenberg, like, oh, David Rodgers is our quarterback. Oh. He's 20. He's so over the freaking. Yeah, you got a quarterback, all right.
Yeah.
Who's taking the hooscow or whatever the
ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Probably doing that in the huddle. I mean, good for you, New York Jets.
This is why, though. I was watching NFL Live yesterday. And
it's not Aaron Rodgers of 10 years ago, bro.
Yeah,
or even 3 years ago. That ain't the same dude.
I'm watching NFL Live.
He looks like he's like 170, by the way.
Yeah, I'm watching NFL Live yesterday, and I'm hearing him talk about this. And Dan Orlovsky, it's like I love Dan, but man, I mean, he's telling me that the Jets have the most complete roster in the NFL now, and they're going to compete with the Chiefs and the Bengals. And I'm like, no, they're not. The Jets are not making the playoffs.
Ooh.
I'll put it out there right now. They ain't winning the Super Bowl. They ain't making the playoffs. In the AFC, this is the whole story of this is Aaron Rodgers has misjudged this horrendously.
I think the Jets have misjudged it too. I think the Packers are sitting back there going,
I don't care if you're the Packers have done the right thing.
The Packers won this.
They need to get out underneath this guy because you want to talk about culture killer. I mean, distraction.
Right.
Just constant distraction.
Right.
Throwing the organization under the bus when he played like crap this year. And whose fault is that? Maybe you should have showed up to camp and gotten to work with those young receivers.
Hello.
How about that? Or, so that's kind of my take on that. Him going to the AFC, given the quarterback gauntlet in there, come on, bro. You're not winning anything.
No.
You're not winning anything. Whereas in the NFC, it's so wide open. Like, who's the second best quarterback in the NFC? I don't know who it is.
Cool.
Is it Derek Carr now? Is it Dak Prescott? Is it Kirk Cousins? Who was the second best quarterback in the NFC after Jalen Hurts? I don't know.
Baker Mayfield. He looked good in that Lightning jersey last night.
I'm falling into that camp. It was his freaking fault, man.
He wasn't on the ice last night for the last 10 minutes skating around like
it's bad juju. Bad juju.
Bad juju.
Anyway, also the NBA last night, the Lakers go up 3-1 in the series. LeBron goes for 20 and 20 and 7.
And the two biggest hoops of the game.
And the two biggest hoops of the game.
I'm driving to the hole. I'm taking all you young bucks to the hole in the biggest moment, including you, Dylan punk-ass bitch, Brooks, who can't sit there and answer questions after the game.
I told you, this guy's a fraud. He's a fraud.
You can't sit there. You want to sit there and be some tough guy, and here come a bunch of needle-nosed.
He's punching above his weight class.
They're me coming in there and ask you questions, and you can't handle the media. You're a fraud.
He's a fraud. He is.
You're a fraud.
He is. He wants to shit talk LeBron, and this is what happens.
I got to give it to LeBron last night, though. That's a straight up man.
I'm
that dude.
I never thought that
I hate your politics, bro, but I will just.
Who cares? On the court, LeBron James is. He's on this. It's like, even though he's 38 years old and there's so many great players in the league, I just always have this feeling that he's going to find a way.
Yeah.
His teams are going to find the way. And the other big one before we get out of here.
LeBron wouldn't give up 3 goals in the third period last night.
No. Always in attack mode.
Yeah.
And the other game last night, that
Jimmy Butler.
Himmy Butler
56?
In the playoffs with 56.
And Giannis came back last night?
I'm not going to say that I saw this coming. I won't say that. But I saw this series going
3-1?
7. I saw this series going 7 because Miami in the playoffs takes it to another level because of Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is like the Kawhi. Him and Kawhi Leonard to me, and that's a whole other story. This guy I don't even know if he wants to play. But him and Kawhi, when they're healthy in the playoffs, right? Those two to me are like the best examples of raising your game to another level. Like, that's why the Miami Heat, like, they were awful in the right. Like, it kind of like limped into the playoffs. I think they were like, what, the 7 seed?
8.
They were the 8 seed.
The first play-in to beat a 1.
There you go. They had to be in the play-in for credit. But he gets in the playoffs. He just becomes a different player.
And the Lakers were in the play-in.
And the Lakers.
Yeah, play-ins have not won a single series. It's only been like 2-3 years now?
Nope.
Whatever. But they're going to this year.
Yeah. And by the way, keep in mind, the Warriors tied it up at 2 with the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Seem to be finding something. If the Warriors win that series.
Yeah, Steph's making shots.
And assuming the Lakers get out.
Draymond coming off the bench.
We might get Lakers-Warriors in the second round.
Ooh. Wow, that's old school.
And then you would have, what, Nuggets and Suns?
Sacramento ain't dead.
No, I think they're dead.
Fox
they're dead because De'Aaron Fox is injured now.
Oh, is he?
He fractured his hand, and he's doubtful to play Game 5.
I thought it was just a fingertip.
Yeah, it sounds like a hand thing.
Shooting.
Whatever it is, he's doubtful to play Game 5. So if that's the case, they're dead.
That's a team on the come, though.
They are
a team on the come. All right, that'll do it for us here today. Thank you guys for checking in. I hope you had some fun today on a pretty dreary day for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they ain't done yet.
But not for your Tampa Bay Rays.
Tampa Bay Rays looking good. We got another one today against the Astros. Need to go beat on their trash can a little bit more.
Drew Rasmussen on the mound, I believe, today.
Uncle Drew.
Uncle Drew's.
All right, here we go. Was that 6:40 start tonight? Yep. I'll be watching that.
There we go.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us as well. Big thanks to Bobby the Chief Taylor. That was fun. If you didn't hear his story about his 52 Chevy, bro, that was outstanding. And Steve Carney with the Hall of Shame. We had some fun with that as well. We had a good show today. If you missed it, go back and check it out on YouTube, on our app. Download our app, FanStream Sports. You can always listen to it on that 24/7. Have a great day, everybody.